Hello and welcome to Powerful PowerPoint. In this session, we'll be covering color themes and the eyedropper. Now, colors in PowerPoint, you can dictate them like you can with your theme. Now, we're going to not look at themes as such today, but we're going to have a look at the colors. And you can set different colors for different elements that will be on your screen. So if we head over to design, we can see we get our themes on the left and we get variants on the right. Now the variants is where we'll be focusing today. Now if I click on the little drop down, we get a few more options. We get colors where we get different themes and different styles. So if I click yellow orange, for example, we can see that takes effect. And that's more predominantly seen if you go to places such as selecting box and you go to choose what your shape fill looks like. Now if we click on that brown, we get the brown filled in, and if we want to choose a color specifically, that color applies here, and we can then choose any other color that we want to contrast that as well. Now that was one set of colors, but as you see there are different types of colors available. There's Office 2013 to 2022, 2007 to 2010. Then there's Grayscale, Blue Warm, Blue, Blue 2, Blue Green, Green, Green Yellow, Yellow, Yellow Orange, which we have applied, Orange, Orange Red, Red Orange, Red, Red Violet, Violet, Violet 2, Median, Paper, Marquee, Slipstream, and Aspect. These are some of the pre-filled and already created ones that we have available. So if I choose Red Violet, we can see that it updates the colors we have, and the reason why it does that is because we're using what's part of the palette already. So if I open this up, we get our theme colors, and this has always been at the top. So if you change any of these, so if I make this like a dark sort of pink, if we were to change the color theme again, it would update to whatever that theme would be. So if I go back to design and I change it from Red Violet to Office 2007 to 2010, we can see it's now no longer got that pink or that reddy and violet hues. And we can also update the slide, so if we want it as like a dark mode slide, then we can also have that. But it is also just very key to point out that you don't have to use the colors that you were given. So if we pop this back open, we go onto colors. Rather than using the ones in Office, we can also do customize colors. And this is where you can create your own theme, and this is really useful if you're creating colors that are going to be part of your brand, for example, and you want that to also be visible for your slides. So here we're going to create one and we're going to call it Cookie Company, for example. And as you see, it's created our Cookie Company. Now if we right click it, we can then click edit, and as you can see there are already some pre-filled options. So if we want text or background to be dark, it's got this black, but let's say we want something different. We want a sort of brownie color, so we're going to go to more colors and we're going to choose something like this brown, and we're going to hit OK, and we can start seeing how this changes over here. So it's a really good way to play contrast and have a look at what sort of options you end up creating, and you can also see if they work or they need some adjustment because it's either too dark or it's causing a clash in accessibility where you might not be able to read text, items, graphs, or images. So as you see, we've changed two of these. Now if we want to change the light one, for example, you just click down. You can even use one of these pre-select ones which are available, and I'm just going to choose this orange accent, and for this one I'm just going to choose white. A little bit of difference there. Then through the accent colors, these are what will appear in your theme colors first. And this is where they will have the variations. So if I go back into standard and I select this brown, for example, and then I might choose a different variation of that brown, like a slightly lighter one, we can start seeing them apply on here. Now, I would recommend not having too many too close in color to each other, because it could cause some issues with contrast. So if we see I put that really dark orange, it's really hard to distinguish between them. So I'm going to choose something like a really light one. And let's say I want this brown, for example, but I want it a little bit darker. So I'm just going to bring that down. And then let's say we have a secondary color, which is like this green. And then we have our hyperlinks and a hyperlink which is clicked, which is also known as a followed hyperlink. And here you can choose colors that will work in contrast to it. And you'll be able to see how it looks on both options. So as you see, it's got this blue and this purple. I'm going to go for a darker blue. We can see it doesn't really work here in the sample. So maybe we make a little bit of a lighter blue. And if someone clicks that, maybe it goes a bit of a light pink. And then when you're happy with your edited theme, just click save. And as you can see, it will apply it for you. Now you can go and switch between the variants. And these are your light and dark variants. Now, if you go back to colors and you click on cookie, it will also update. But just note that sometimes these variants will default into Office, so you might really just want to focus on clicking the colors. So we choose our custom one. And now if I go onto a new slide, we can see the theme follows through. If I insert a piece of smart art, we can see that color comes in. We can look at the different colorful accents and how it might range from different accents. So 5 and 6 is the one that's used here. And you can get a better feel for whether it works entirely with your theme or not. Let's also have a look at a different type of customization of what you can do. So let's get an image, for example. So I'm just going to insert a picture and I'm going to make it a stock image, just so we can test out the eyedropper function. Now I'm going to choose this one because it's the most colourful and celebratory, and we can see it's now in and it's got different colours, be it pink, purple, blue, violet, green, orange, and like a weird light green background. Now let's say I want this to match a colour that is on here, but I don't know what colour that looks like. I can't really see one that's close to it here. I could do this green, but I like this sort of teal. How can I do it? So on shape fill, and you can also see it when you go to choose a font colour, you can click on eyedropper. And then here, if you hover over the page, you can then choose the colour of an item that is on your screen. So if I like this really dark blue, if I hover over it, you see we get a little RGB code and it tells us what colour it is. If I do this one, for example, we can see it's a teal, but I want more of this greeny teal. So we see dark teal and it gives us the RGB code. If we click on it, it applies that eyedropper reference, so what we took from here, it applies that to the item as the shape fill, which is what we chose. Now if I want to go and change another text box, I don't have to go back and go, oh, okay, let me go and copy this image onto slide 1 and do it. You don't have to. You can click on the box or item, and you can either click the paint box here to fill it automatically, or what you can do is, if you then click on shape fill, you'll get a recent colors which will have your new eyedropped color on. And if you click on that, it will set that to that color. Now you can do this as many times as you like, and it can start building up a little palette for you. Sometimes it might not pick up the right color, but just hit eyedropper and then go and choose whatever color you want. So if we go back to shapefill, for example, we can see the 3 recent eyedroppers references that we've taken. So we've got that dark blue indigo, we've got that light sort of pink, and that dark grey. So we can see what it looks like, and we can actually apply it if we want to, just by hovering over. We don't have to click on it. We can just hover over the colours and we get a sort of preview. And if we don't like it, we can just hit escape or click out of that pop-up pane. Stay tuned for more powerful PowerPoint.